The phone shattered against the wall like a gunshot in the dim glow of Hunter's San Francisco loft. It screamed spiderwebbing into oblivion before it hit the hardwood floor. "You're a fucking abomination. Hunter, don't you ever come back here." Emily's voice echoed in his skull, not from the call he'd just ended, but from that rain-soaked night 8 years ago when she'd slammed the door on him. Her face twisted in the kind of disgust that siblings aren't supposed to wield. Now, in the sterile beep of a hospital line from back home in rural Ohio, a nurse's calm plea cut through. "Your sister's fading fast, Mr. Hale. She listed you as her emergency contact. God knows why." Hunter's breath hitched, his broad chest heaving under the unbuttoned flannel he'd thrown on after a late-night coding session. The city lights twinkled mockingly through his floor-to-ceiling windows, a glittering reminder of the life he'd clawed from the ashes of his family's rejection. At 29, he was a ghost in his own past, CEO of a tech startup that turned vulnerability into algorithms for mental health apps. Ironically born from the silence he'd buried his queerness under. But Emily? The sister who'd once braided his hair and shared secrets under the porch light, only to weaponize Bible verses against him when Dad caught him kissing a boy in the barn? She was dying. Liver failure, the nurse said. Years of pills and regret. Chasing a husband who bolted and a life that crumbled. He grabbed his keys, the jangle a hollow promise against the roar in his ears. The drive to the airport blurred into a haze of taillights and half-formed what-ifs. What if he let her fade alone, like she'd wished him gone? What if this was karma's cruel hook, reeling him back to the farm, where his father still preached fire and brimstone from the pulpit of their crumbling Methodist church? By dawn, Hunter was airborne, the Midwest unspooling below like a faded postcard, cornfields stitched with frost, the Ohio River a sluggish vein of forgotten promises. SFO to Columbus felt like crossing into enemy territory. He rented a black SUV at the airport, the kind with enough horsepower to outrun regrets, and punched the address into the GPS. Mercy General, a squat brick building on the edge of Milford, population 4,200, where everyone knew your sins before your name. The waiting room smelled of bleach and stale coffee, fluorescent lights buzzing like judgmental hornets. His mother sat there, smaller than he remembered, her once vibrant red hair now a dull gray bob, eyes rimmed red from crying. She looked up, and for a split second, time folded, back to the kitchen table where she'd whispered, "It's a phase, baby. Pray it away." "Hunter." Her voice cracked, a whisper laced with awe and shame. He nodded, throat tight, dropping his duffel by the plastic chairs. "Heard about him. Figured I'd check." She rose, tentative, like he might vanish again. Arms wrapped around him, fragile, bird-bone thin, and he stiffened before letting the dam crack, just a fraction. "She's in surgery now. Cirrhosis. Doctors say it's touch and go. She asked for you, last night. Kept saying your name like a prayer." The words landed like shrapnel. Emily, the golden child, valedictorian and Sunday school star, who'd screamed at him that he was dragging the family to hell. Who'd stood silent as Dad burned his coming-out letter in the fireplace. Yet here she was, clinging to his ghost as her world dimmed. They sat in brittle silence, broken only by the nurse's updates. Vitals stable, but infection raging. Hours bled into evening, the sky outside bruising purple. When the doctor emerged, scrubs rumpled, face etched with the weariness of small-town miracles, he offered a nod. "You can see her now. Family only." Hunter followed his mother down the hall, the linoleum squeaking under his boots. Emily's room was a cocoon of beeps and tubes, her face pale against the pillow, freckles stark like scattered constellations. Tubes snaked from her arms, a ventilator humming softly. She looked 35 going on 60, the wild curls matted, her green eyes, mirror of his own, fluttering open as he approached. "Hunt." It was a rasp, barely audible over the machines. He pulled the chair close, gripping the rail until his knuckles whitened. "Hey, you look like shit." A ghost of a smile tugged her lips. "Pot. Kettle. You came. Someone had to make sure you didn't croak without hearing how much I hate your playlists." It was a lie, light as air, to mask the ache blooming in his chest. Up close, the years carved deep. Laugh lines faded to worry grooves, the tattoo on her wrist, a dove from their childhood summers, faded to ink blot regret. She coughed, wincing. I'm sorry. For everything. Dad. He broke us. I was scared. Weak. The apology hung, fragile as spun glass. He wanted to hurl it back, to list the nights he'd sobbed in truck stops, hitchhiking west with nothing but a backpack and a bruised heart. But her hand found his, cool and trembling, and something in him softened, the boy who'd once idolized her, before the world twisted them apart. Tell me about your life, she whispered. The real one, not the headlines. So he did, halting at first. The startup in the Bay, born from coding through panic attacks. The men who'd come and gone, brief flames that singed but never warmed. And Alex, the architect with laugh lines that crinkled like autumn leaves, who'd stuck around for 2 years until Hunter's walls proved too high. He's gone now, Hunter admitted, voice low. Pushed him away. Easier than risking the fall. Emily's eyes glistened. You deserve more. We all do. Night fell heavy, the hospital a limbo of shadows. His mother dozed in the corner, and Hunter stayed, watching Emily's chest rise and fall. Dawn crept in with a vengeance, bringing fevered dreams and confessions. She spoke of her marriage's collapse, Mark's affairs, the pills to numb the void, of Dad's sermons turning venomous, preaching against sodomites, while ignoring his own hypocrisies. He drinks, Hunt, hides it, and I enabled it, to fit in. By morning, the infection ebbed, a fragile truce. But as Hunter stepped out for coffee, his phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. We need to talk. Dad. The old man's farm, 10 miles out. Dread coiled in his gut. Round 2. The Hale homestead hadn't changed, sagging white clapboard, porch swing creaking in the wind, fields stretching gold under a brittle November sun. Hunter parked the SUV, gravel crunching like bones under tires. Dad waited on the steps, overalls stiff with farm dirt, Bible tucked under arm like a shield. At 62, he was a monolith cracked at the edges, roomy eyes, beard streaked white. The preacher who'd once baptized Hunter in the creek, calling him God's own boy. You look city, Dad grunted, not rising. Feels like it. Hunter leaned against the hood, arms crossed. M's hanging on. You gonna grace the hospital with your presence? A shadow crossed the old man's face. Prayer's my grace. Lord's will be done. Bullshit. The word exploded, raw and American as apple pie gone sour. You disowned me. Called me a devil for loving who I love. Now your daughter's dying, and you're hiding behind scripture? Dad's jaw worked, tobacco spit arcing into the dirt. You chose that path, boy. Sodom and Gomorrah. Stop. Hunter stepped forward, voice steel. I didn't choose shit. I was born this way. And you? You chose hate. Every Sunday, thundering from that pulpit while Mom cried herself to sleep. The air thickened, charged like pre-storm ozone. Dad rose then, slow, towering but diminished. I lost you. Lost her too, in ways. But the good book. Screw the book. Hunter's fists balled. It didn't stop you from beating the queer out of me with your belt. Or Emily from echoing it to save her own skin. Silence stretched, broken only by a distant tractor's rumble. Dad's eyes, faded blue, met his, and for the first time, Hunter saw fracture lines. Regret, buried deep as well water. I was wrong, the old man muttered, voice gravel. Fear. It twists a man. It wasn't absolution, but it was a crack in the fortress. Hunter exhaled, the fight draining like pus from a wound. Em needs you. Not the preacher. The father. Dad nodded, once, and turned toward the truck. As Hunter followed, the weight lifted, just a fraction. Back at the hospital, Emily stirred, color returning to her cheeks. He came? She asked, hope fragile. Yeah, miracles happen. But peace was fleeting. That night, as Hunter crashed on the vinyl couch in his mother's cramped bungalow, smelling of mothballs and pot roast, a knock shattered the quiet. Not Dad. Alex. Standing there in the porch light, leather jacket dusted with travel grime, dark hair tousled from the red-eye flight. You ghosted me for a month, Hunt. Then I hear through the grapevine, sister in crisis. Figured you'd need backup. Hunter's heart stuttered, a traitorous leap. Alex Rivera, 31, with olive skin and eyes like smoked whiskey, the man who'd seen through his armor in a Castro bar 2 years back. Architect by trade, poet by soul, sketching blueprints for homes that felt like hugs. They'd built something real, lazy Sundays in bed, arguments over takeout that ended in laughter. Until Hunter's past clawed back, whispering you're not enough. How'd you? Mutual friends. And I know you, Carino. You don't ask for help, you vanish. Alex stepped in, pulling him into a hug that smelled of cedar and home. His mother hovered, awkward, but offered coffee. Black, no sugar, just how Alex liked. Emily wheeled in for a visit the next day, lit up like Christmas. The hot one? From your stories. Hunter flushed, American redneck roots clashing with urban polish. Meet Alex. Alex, my pain-in-the-ass sister. They bonded over Jell-O cups and bad TV. Alex's easy charm thawing the room. But under it, tension simmered. Dad lurked in the hall, Bible in hand, eyes flicking to their joined fingers with veiled storm clouds. And Emily's whispers turned confessional. Mark's back. Wants forgiveness. Says he'll help with bills if I take him back. Don't, Hunter urged, pulse quickening. He's poison. She wavered, eyes distant. I need stability. For the girls, my daughters. He's their dad. The daughters. Hunter had forgotten. Nieces he'd never met, 6 and 4, with Emily's curls and Mark's weak chin. Photos on her phone, gap-toothed smiles and sunflower fields. Stability? Mark was a ghost of bar fights and bounced checks. The man who'd called Hunter fag bro at the wedding, slurring through whiskey breath. As days blurred, Emily stabilizing, discharge looming, cracks widened. Alex rented a room at the Milford Inn, a kitschy relic with neon vacancy signs. And their nights there were fevered reprieves, bodies tangling in queen sheets, Hunter's scars traced by calloused fingers. Stay, Alex murmured post-climax, sweat-slick skin cooling. Build something here. Or let me build with you. Wherever. But Hunter's roots ran barbed. A call from the startup, bored breathing down his neck, investors spooked by his absence. Family emergencies one thing, hail. But vanishing? We need you back. Then, the bomb. Emily's midnight breakdown, sobbing in Hunter's arms. Mark's suing for custody. Says I'm unfit. Pills, hospital stays. If I fight, he'll drag our dirt public. Yours too, Hunt. The old rumors. Rage ignited, white hot. Mark, the betrayer, weaponizing their family skeletons. Hunter stormed out, finding the bastard at a dive bar on Route 23. Neon Miller signs flickering over pool tables, air thick with fry grease and regret. Mark Hale, no relation, thank God, leaned on the bar, paunch spilling over belt, wedding ring glinting mockingly. You touch my sister, you slimy fuck, and I'll bury you. Hunter's voice was low thunder, fists itching. Mark smirked, beer foam on his mustache. Little bro-in-law returns. Heard you went rainbow. Figures. M's spilling secrets. Your little barn escapades. Court loves that shit. Unstable family. Queers leading the charge. The punch landed square. Hunter's knuckles splitting on jawbone. Mark crumpling like wet cardboard. Barflies scattered. But Hunter didn't stop, hauling him up by collar. You destroyed her once. Won't again. Cops came, of course. Small-town blues, recognizing the Hales. Dad bailed him out at dawn, face thunderous in the station's harsh light. Violence ain't the way, son. Tell that to the man trying to steal my nieces. Dad's silence was damning. Back home, Emily waited, eyes hollow. You fought for me. After everything I did. Family's fucked up, Em. Doesn't mean I stop. But the fight cracked something deeper. Alex, nursing Hunter's bruised hand with eyes from the motel vending machine, pressed. This place is eating you alive. We leave, together. Hunter hesitated, the pull of West Coast ambition warring with blood's stubborn tide. Then, the twist, a letter from Emily's lawyer, slipped under the door. Mark's ace, affidavits from church folks, painting Hunter as the devil's influence, corrupting the girls with his lifestyle. Dad's signature at the bottom, scrawled in faded ink. Betrayal, fresh as a gut punch. Hunter confronted him in the barn, hayloft shadows dancing in lantern light. You signed it? After everything. Dad's face crumpled, old warrior yielding. He came to me, said it'd protect the girls from sin. I thought. You thought wrong. Hunter's voice broke, tears hot. I'm your son, gay or not. And you just erased me again. The old man sank to a bale, head in hands. Forgive me, boy. I ain't the man God intended. It was raw, unpolished, Midwest absolution, Baptist guilt stripped bare. Hunter knelt, the boy in him bridging the chasm. Then be better. For Em. For the girls. Hell for me. Dawn broke with fragile pacts. Dad withdrawing the affidavit, testifying against Mark in family court. Emily rallied. rehab whispers turning to resolve. But the real storm brewed in Hunter's heart. Alex's plane ticket burning a hole in his wallet, departure set for week's end. The courthouse in Milford was a relic. Marble steps worn smooth by generations of small dramas. Emily, pale but poised in a thrift store suit, clutched Hunter's hand as they entered. The girls, Lila and Sophie, sat with Mom, wide-eyed cherubs in smock dresses, oblivious to the war over their souls. Mark swaggered in, lawyer in tow, smug as a cat with cream. Proceedings dragged. Testimonies of Emily's progress, Dad's halting admission of mistakes made in judgment. Then Mark's turn, smirking through perjured tales of Hunter's deviance, twisting barn kiss into predator myth. The judge, a stern widow named Harlan, eyed Hunter coolly. "Mr. Hale, you've been absent. Why return now?" Hunter stood, voice steady as California fault lines. "Because blood's thicker than hate. I was run off 8 years ago for being gay, disowned by this town, this family. But my sister's fighting for her life, her kids. I vanished to survive, built something real out west. Now, I'm here to say, love wins. Not this bullshit division." The room hushed, air electric. Alex, in the back row, nodded, his anchor, silent strength. Judge Harlan leaned forward, glasses perched. "Poetic, son. But custody ain't poetry." Then, the bombshell. Emily's lawyer slid forward evidence. Mark's DUIs, hidden affairs, a restraining order from 2 years back. Dad's testimony sealed it. "I was blind. Man's a wolf in sheep's clothing." Mark lunged, red-faced. "Lies. That queer poisoned them." Chaos erupted, bailiff hauling him out, curses flying. Hunter shielded Emily as she sobbed, the girls rushing to her skirts. Judge's gavel cracked. Full custody to Emily, supervised visits for Mark, therapy mandated all around. Outside, autumn wind whipped leaves like confetti. The family clustered, awkward, mending. Dad clapping Hunter's shoulder, Mom hugging Alex like a long-lost son. "You're welcome anytime," she said, eyes soft. But as cheers faded, Alex pulled Hunter aside, under the old oak by the steps. "Your call, Hunt. This place, it's got hooks. But we're the lifeline." Hunter looked back. The courthouse, the farm in distance, Emily cradling her girls. Then to Alex, the man who'd crossed states for a ghost. "We build both. Here for them. There for us." The kiss was sunset gold, unhurried, tongues tracing forgiveness, hands mapping futures. No fanfare, just 2 men claiming space in a world that once tried to erase them. Months later, Emily thrived, sober, farm-fresh eggs for breakfast, girls calling Hunter Uncle Hunt, with giggles. Dad's sermons softened, whispers of grace over brimstone. Hunter split time, boardrooms in the Bay, blueprints with Alex for a Milford community center, queer youth safe space, funded by his app's windfall. One evening, porch swing creaking, Hunter and Emily shared a beer, non-alcoholic for her. "You saved me," she said, head on his shoulder. "Nah, we saved each other." Stars wheeled overhead, Ohio sky vast as redemption. Hunter texted Alex, "Home soon. Love you." The reply pinged instant. "Always, Carino. We're unbreakable." In the end, vanishing wasn't escape. It was the long road back to wholeness. Disowned, yes, but never unloved. Not anymore.